Again, YouTube, nut job with machete, back with, well, something that I've shown you in the past, and as soon as I showed it to everyone, it was in the comparison of nut jobs machetes, and just in case you haven't seen it, I'll put a link right here. As soon as I showed you guys it, everyone wanted to know what it was, so I figured it was time to do a review. And since we're back out on the farm, as you can tell, it's cold out here, and this is the same jacket as the Condor review and the NF review. Since we're back out on the farm, I thought I should bring it out. It's the Corona razor saw. Now, this one hasn't really been cleaned off because I've been using it all day. I've got some footage I'll show you in just a little bit. But this thing was, if I remember correctly, it was about 15 bucks, 11 or 15 bucks. Picked it up at Lowe's. You can pick it up online, Amazon, so on and so forth. I'll put a few links down below. I've been seeing a lot of people buying like Silky Gomboys and all of those things, and I wanted to see if I could find something at a more budget-friendly price point. And admittedly, since I buy machetes, and a lot of them, and big ones, and knives, and the whole kit and caboodle, I needed to find something fairly budget-friendly. So, little visit to Lowe's, boom, Corona razor saw. Now, as with most of the folding saws, shiny, it has a button back here that will lock it in place while it's closed, and it locks up fairly tight. It'll wiggle because there's a little bit of space, but you press the button, folds out, just like most of the other saws. Locks out actually pretty good. One of the reasons why I picked it up, besides the fact that it is a fair size, anything bigger than this I might want a buck saw or something along those lines, or a chainsaw if I'm doing it around here. But if I remember correctly, this is the 10-inch version. Well, the handle was actually pretty cool too. You can see the handle itself is kind of a combination of rubber overmold on plastic. This part is a little bit more rubbery, this part is a little bit more plasticky. But it gives you a couple of different spots to, if you want to saw, light, simple stuff up here. If you really need that reach, it's got a handle very similar to a barong, and it gives you a little bit longer reach for, say, overhead. Well, you know what, talking about the overhead, why don't we go to some of my test footage, and we'll come right back. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to do a meat test on this thing. This is not a weapon. This is a tool. So, as a tool, how does it function? Well, you saw that it gave me, this handle gave me the extra length I needed for overhead branches. Then afterwards, I sawed off a few things. I did a lot of stuff, sorry guys, off camera, because carrying this thing around while I was trying to work on the farm was a little difficult. So I tried the iPod, and then I kind of killed the battery on it. So, sorry guys. But off that big, well, the treetop, I took off all the big branches with this thing, which is why it still has quite a bit of tree chunks in it. And my hand actually didn't get tired at all. Some of those branches were about 8 inches, which is, they recommend no more than about 8 or 9 inches, even though it's a 10-inch blade. And that's just so that as you're pushing it through the wood, it doesn't bind on you. This thing actually, it's a pull cut. So if you're pushing forward and you catch on the wood at all and it binds, you could snap the blade pretty easily. But one tip that I've got is, especially for this thing, and why don't we come up we're coming up close. We'll take a gander at it. One tip that I had is, well, I have Flitz, which is like a metal polish, and I use it on a lot of my machetes. I use it on quite a few of my knives. I use it on a lot of my tools too. Well, Flitz actually makes this have very little resistance. It's very, very smooth, and so when I'm sawing through stuff, that Flitz on top of this blade makes it a lot easier to go through most of the material. Now, let's take a look at the teeth. They're actually fairly aggressive, and you can see there, well, you can kind of see the blue on them, that's heat treating. So the tips are actually very hard. You could reprofile this if you wanted to get in there with files once it actually gets dull. At this price point, I probably won't do that. I probably won't invest the time. I'll probably just get a new one. And like I said, this is a really budget-friendly saw. It's not a Silky Gomboy or a whatever the hell the other Silkies are, but it is really budget-friendly, and it is really, really good. This sits in my my car care kit, just in case as I'm coming down the road there's a branch or a tree or something like that across the road. I can hopefully chop it up with this, and if not, I can at least make it lighter to drag it off the road. And yeah, like it's actually a pretty damn good saw, especially for, like I said, the price point. I mean, packs down fairly well. When I was climbing that tree, all I did was, there's a little inside pouch on this jacket, and it's right here. Nice and light, let me climb up the tree, saw, climb back down the tree, and it was fine. Hell, it will probably fit in most larger glove boxes, or you can throw it in your toolbox. Like, you can do like me and throw it in your car care kit or your winter survival kit, anything along those lines. Just pop it in there. It's really, really lightweight. I can't remember the weight, but again, I'll put it down below. And actually, you know what? I can remember the weight. I can totally remember the weight. It weighs 9 ounces. 9 ounces total, with a lot of the weight being on this pivot. Sorry, I remember the weight. Yay! So yeah, lightweight saw, really, really good. I mean, yeah, you can kind of hear a little bit of noise from it, but price point's perfect. Really, really tough. I'm actually impressed. The plastic has held up really well. This thing's come through, I think now it's 2 winters, and no, 1 winter. 1 really damn cold winter, mind you, and the plastic hasn't cracked or warped or anything along those lines, and I've been using it in the wintertime as well. So yeah, well, that's about it, guys. I mean, there's not really much else I can add to such a handy little saw. Like I said, Flitz metal polish, I'll put a link below to where you can find it on, I got it off Amazon, so I'll put that link below. Polish this up, and yeah, it'll just glide right through the wood. Well, there's not really anything else I can add to it, so yeah. Thanks so much for watching this video, guys. As always, if you like videos like this, please feel free to click like, feel free to subscribe for more videos like this in the future, and feel free to share this video as much as you want. And until next time, guys, I'm Nutjob with a machete, with a surprisingly handy little saw. Stay sharp.